How you doing? I'd just like to say a couple things tonight. No, sir. As last time, I choose to remain anonymous. So I just want to talk about a couple things. Pretty much what I want to talk about is when I was here last month and the ordeal that went down. When I tried to speak at this public meeting, tried to remain private, didn't want to give out my personal information due to safety concerns. And we watched the banter back and forth with the council for quite some time, plus the recess time. I think it was in excess of 30 minutes where we all tried to figure out what we were going to do about this. So I'm here tonight to talk about a couple of the things that happened last time. As a private citizen, the mayor said it last time, as public officials, elected officials, you're all very highly visible. That's not the case for private citizens. We can choose to remain private. We do not have to be highly visible. We did not choose to go down the path of wanting to serve for our community and become elected officials, okay? So you guys are highly visible, and I talked about that bill in Trenton that protects the addresses of public officials, and I support that bill, okay? But I'm a private citizen, and I'm allowed to remain private. You guys were this close from doing the wrong thing, this close. I thought you guys were going to make a mistake. And I don't think there's anything more important than what I'm talking about tonight, because this is the fundamental principles of everything that goes on in this country. Our rights are being plucked away from us one by one, in rooms like this room with elected officials such as yourselves all across the country, trying to overextend authority that you do not have, trying to enforce a policy that does not exist. Okay? One thing that has not gone in vain with Eunice's murder is shined a spotlight on the political dealings in Sayreville, a lot of which the public seems it's very troubling. You know, when I spoke last time, when we went to recess, I hope Councilman County's here. I see there's a lot of people online. I'm going to assume he's here. The meetings are once a month. I would imagine he's listening on Zoom at least. But he came to me during the recess and he said, why don't you just give a fake name? Just say anything. You don't have to give your real name. You don't have to say where you're from. So he encouraged me to skew facts for your public record. Okay? That's what he did. All right? We talked about the cannabis, the paperwork that was submitted to the state for cannabis arrests from Sayreville. Demographics were completely skewed. All of the arrests of the black and brown people were listed as white. So we're skewing public records, but we lateraled that to the state. We said it was a state issue. The limitations on the form was because of the state, although towns all across the state did not have skewed demographics. Okay, so we're altering public records in Sayreville, right? Councilman Conti encouraged me to alter my facts of who I am, to alter the record. And you guys wanted my name because you wanted to preserve a public record, a factual public record. And that's what this all was in the name of. Okay? Also, the mayor, who I support wholeheartedly, said we don't want to remove my public comments from the meeting. Altering public records is a federal offense. You can serve up to 5 years in federal prison for altering public records. I don't understand why that's such common practice here in Sayreville. Altering public records should be a big deal, okay? I come here as a member from the community because I strive for transparency in governing bodies, such as here in Sayreville. We're probably 4 or 5 years away from when we walk into public town halls such as this. They'll have equipment and facial recognition, and they'll know who we all are. They'll know who we all are, okay? We're hanging on a thread. We have a few years where we all, as private citizens, can protect each other's rights. Okay? And I want you all to think about your private citizen aspect as opposed to your elected official powers and your capacity. Okay? Because everybody agreed to go on a recess, which was the correct move. Council President Ohana, you disagreed for that. Why you wouldn't strive for finding out what the law is and being able to accommodate the public legally, reasonably. Why that wouldn't be something that you would want is beyond me. Why your public version wouldn't be highlighted or illuminated. Why that wouldn't show itself is beyond me. Someone from the Middlesex County prosecutors, after they arrested someone, they said, we should take this moment and recommit ourselves to our public duties and our oaths as people in the court systems, in the police departments, and in councils. So I would hope that all of you would hit the reset button. You all need a refresher moment and realize that you're representing the public. You're representing your public version of yourself. I mean, I was mind blown.
You're over 5 minutes. If you could wrap it up, please.
So I hope we all can at least do that. I don't come here with ill intentions. I don't come here to start a fight. You all need to recommit to your duties. You're all elected officials. Represent the people. Represent your public version of yourself. Think about what the public is like. And the fact that this was all over safety concerns. And you guys fought me so hard for it. Even if you had something in place, it doesn't trump my First Amendment right. The reason why it's the First Amendment is because it's the most important one. It's protected speech against stuff you don't want to hear, stuff that you don't want to hear, that you disagree with. That's what the First Amendment is about. It's not protected for favorable speech. It's protected for things you don't want to hear.
You're over 6 minutes. If you could wrap it up, please.
I hope you all could recommit to your elected duties. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I appreciate that. We definitely learned from the last time that you spoke. So I'm glad we did take that recess to get a little bit more information about the way that our own language was written in reference to the process of our meeting. So it was a learning moment. I think it was a learning moment, definitely for myself. And I hope that we take that forward and move that forward and do the right thing. Yes, go ahead. You may. Who's next?
Hey guys, this is Councilman Conti. Just before you go to the next person, I want to clarify. I never told you, the anonymous one, I never told you you should give a fake name. I told you you can give any name. We'd have no idea if it's your actual name or not, as we don't know your name. That was my comment to you. Not that you should give a fake name.
You clarified it correctly. You were encouraging the possibility for me to be able to give a fake name, not necessarily telling me to do so. Got it.
I said I have no idea what your name is. None of us do. So not to say give a fake name, but give any name. I have no idea if it's your name or not.
No. I will not give a fake name. I will not falsify public records as we do so in Sayreville, so openly. I will not falsify public records.
Hold on. It's not a question and answer, give and take. Committeeman Conti, are you finished?
Yes, I'm finished. Thank you, Sean.
Okay. Next, sir. Go ahead. You're in the public portion.
Okay. I'd like to second what this gentleman here said, that we don't have to show papers under the Fourth Amendment. We're allowed to speak 5 minutes once a month. So that right should never be taken away. I believe it's under the New Jersey State Constitution, as well as the First Amendment and the Fourth Amendment.
So it's one of the gentlemen that from the last meeting that really expressed his discontent for how he believes that his rights were almost stripped from him. And and I want to express that in any way that I really played a role in that, I want to sincerely apologize. Ultimately, my initial understanding of the law was, which I believe I've seen enforced within this level and in other capacities. I believe that I was upholding it and assisting to uphold it, but I'm ultimately discovering from our council that wasn't the case. I want to, it was a learning lesson for me, so I want to express that, even in a public capacity, if granted the privilege and opportunity to continue to serve even beyond this position, it's something that I look forward to holding with me so that, I don't behave as a hindrance to the next person that wants to express their viewpoint. So ultimately, my desire is to help be an enhancement of your voice. So in any way that I played a role to kind of deny that, I want to apologize for that. I know that, and it's an opportunity for me to really, it's a call to action for sure. So even as you mentioned, a reset button, that's something that I do take personally. I want to express that to you. And even for the mayor, I want to express gratitude that, she did grant the opportunity even for the recess so that we can always be correct, even in our behavior towards you and the rest of the public, because that is ultimately what we are here for, especially in this capacity in the public portion. So, my initial viewpoint was that you could still say it, but maybe in the private capacity, not on the public record. And again, initially, I thought that was the correct thing to do. Ultimately, receiving more knowledge from our counsel, I discovered that I was mistaken. And so I want to express that. And so thank you. You did teach me a lesson. And even as elected officials, our job is to be the right reflection of our population. So even that lesson, it allows me to improve myself to be a better reflection of you and the rest of the borough. So I just want to express that. I don't want you to have the viewpoint that my initial stance is my current stance today. I think that I've made the adjustment. I learned from it. I'm glad that I didn't learn it while being a hindrance. I'm glad that we were able to correct it in real time. So that's why I want to really thank the mayor, even for the council that was present at the time. I think that in the staggering opposition that you presented to him, I think he was still very reasonable to really express the humility to go back and do his research in real time. So there was so much that I got to learn from that experience. I want to really thank you for being a catalyst, even for me in my young, journey so far as elected official. I want to say thanks. So thank you.
I just want to say that just made my night. Thank you so much for apologizing. But like I said before in the that literally just touched my heart. That is huge. You don't get that often. But even if there was a policy in place, it doesn't trump your First Amendment rights. So just keep that in mind. But thank you so much, Council President Ohana. I appreciate that.
Very good. Thank you, Council President, for those comments. And I echo what Council President Anoha has said. One of the biggest things that I've always fought for is to make the people in this community feel comfortable to come up to the microphone, express how they feel, and to feel like they're heard. And sometimes it's hard to hear the things that people have to say. I mean, I've learned that firsthand in the near decade that I've sat up there, but even the sharpest criticisms are opportunities for learning. And, I'm very proud of the fact that we have sometimes long meetings because the public feels that they're finally being heard. And, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for everybody that comes up to speak, whether I agree with them or whether they support me or not. It's part of what makes this country great and what makes our community great. So thank you for that opportunity, giving us a chance to turn around and learn and see and address the way that we allow people to come forward and just say what's on their mind. With that being said, is there anybody else from the public that wishes to speak? Now's your time. If there is nobody else coming forward, then I will entertain a motion to close the public portion.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second? Second, thank you. All in favor of closing the public portion?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Thank you.